Welcome to Sequel. This week I was challenged to make a sequel to John Carpenter's classic, The Fog. My name's Blaise.
I'm James.
And this week we're going to get right into it. So The Fog, it's a movie that we kind of joked about last week about how, like, oh, it's a movie that I always put on, fall asleep to, but I've never actually finished. And no offense to the movie. Like, I do love it, but it was just something that would always, like, maybe I was just too tired that day.
It might be just the small town setting. Also, just something about small towns. Like, oh, I'm sleepy.
I think also, like, a fog is, like, reminds me of, like, a yawn for some reason, where I'm just like... Like, you know, I'm just getting tired thinking about fog. I don't know. But anyways, I did finally finish the film. I fucking loved it. Yeah. So the soundtrack is great. Like, I think it's up there with, like, Halloween, but it's not as memorable of a soundtrack, but I think it's up there. It's like has kind of the same tones. It's very cool soundtrack. Yeah. A lot of the effects are really cool. I just like the film overall. It's really fun. But thinking about The Fog too, I'm like, I got a lot of ideas after the first one. And I was thinking, like, this would take place probably modern day, 40 years after the first Fog and, like, the events that happened in San Antonio Bay. I want it to take place during Halloween time, like, and kind of have that same vibe that Halloween had. Not of, like, Michael Myers and shit, but, like, of just the town is, like, celebrating Halloween. It's this small, like, smoky, foggy little town in it's called
Pumpkin patches and everything.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, it's going to take place 40 years later. It's going to be in Halloween. And it's going to be about a marine biologist, single mother by the name of Jane, and her daughter move into Lighthouse from the first movie. Okay. Did you ever make it that far?
No, I finished it. Yeah. No, and I agree. I fucking loved it too. Yeah.
But anyways, Jane's moved there to research the water and study surrounding marine life because she's a marine biologist.
Oh, nice backstory there.
Yeah. I'm getting a little more in depth in this one. But anyways, now that I have my phone, I can use it. I'm like, I'm gonna actually write like some stuff because usually I have to handwrite them. It's kind of hard. But anyways, Jane's daughter is named Patty. She's an outcast and doesn't fit in since she's now moved into this new school. She doesn't really fit in. Hasn't really been able to make friends. She notices like all the radio equipment inside the lighthouse, which was Stevie, the character from the first one's, all her radio equipment, and like she had that little like radio station. So now Patty's gonna kind of take over and start her little underground radio station. So think like pirate radio or something like that. She's going to start broadcasting music from the 1980s because that was when the first movie took place. Right. So it's going to have the movie's going to have a really cool soundtrack. Yeah.
Some records are still there, maybe.
Yeah, also. Exactly. I was thinking like records are still there, and she's like, maybe it wasn't records that Stevie played, but just records that were in her collection because she was like living in the lighthouse. So anyways, Jane's studying the water and notices trace amounts of like gold. And like, oh, there's like gold in the water. And then like at the same time, kind of Patty makes friends with like this drifter in town, like maybe at like a cafe or something, meets this drifter, and he starts telling her ghost stories of like the town's past. Yeah. And then she's like, oh, you should come on since it's Halloween onto my radio station and tell like these stories like to everyone.
Airy.
Yeah, exactly. So then basically it's going to still have that ghost story vibe that the first one had, but like it like over the radio for the whole town, and like get that whole Wolfman Jack vibe back, if you feel me. I'm always down for Wolfman Jack. But yeah, anyways, then also Jane's gonna be like, oh, they found the gold, they want to get a dive team down there to find more gold, and they're also finding out these stories of like the lepers and the pirates that like were sunk. They weren't allowed to create their colony, and like the church stole all their gold. But anyways, they're gonna find like a gold cross, which is the gold cross from the first movie, and then basically the lepers are gonna come back like and just start fucking shit up. I never really got too far in there, but I think I had enough like story in the beginning to kind of create like an atmosphere, but I'm not really sure. I think when it comes to like the lepers coming back, it's mainly just going to turn into like kind of a slasher kind of fest. But I want that whole ghost story, like what was his name, the I forget, Tom Atkins character. Oh, Nick from the
truck driver, right?
Yeah, I was thinking he could be like the drifter character. Like maybe they don't explicitly say it, but it's like kind of the same guy. It's the same actor, or maybe someone who looks like him. I don't know if he ended up with what's her name?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis. But we'll see.
It was a cool story with them.
Yeah, I didn't want to do too much of that. I just want to like maybe, or the Drifter might not even be Tom Atkins. It could be someone else. Who cares? But yeah, I would like the ghost story being told while the ghosts are like coming back, kind of reenacting like the same similar crimes of like just slaughtering people.
And just they're telling stories and as if it's like kind of happening. Maybe it is actually happening amongst the town. Yeah.
Do you remember as a kid, my favorite ghost stories were always ghost stories where the ghosts were wronged. So it's like the ghosts aren't necessarily bad.
Yeah.
They were just wronged. And I liked how the end of The Fog, spoiler, I mean, if you haven't seen it, it's like 40 years old, 37 years old, but go check it out. Anyways, like, yeah, like at the end they kill that pastor, like, because they were trying to take like 6 people and they had killed 5 before. So they're kind of reenacting the same crime that was done to them, which I love those ghost stories as a kid. Like, whereas like there's no one necessarily evil. Like it might be a revenge story, but they were wronged in a way. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. They were trying to set peace and like, colonize themselves in a separate area. But like, they're like, no, we're not having this. Like it's messed up. Yeah.
So that's kind of my idea. What do you think about my idea for The Fog 2 or just the sequel to The Fog?
I mean, I loved it overall. That's pretty much exactly what I wanted to see. The only thing I had was, like, I would have wanted to have seen more with The Fog because I did love it. Like, the soundtrack was great. Was, why stop there with the revenge? Like, why not just get the whole fucking town so you could go?
You mean like don't just kill 6 people, kill everyone?
Yeah, because they were mainly going for the founders of the city and stuff. Like, the whole town like was like maybe not behind it and stuff, but like they destroyed a whole colony's worth of people. Why not just get this whole colony, this new colony back and stuff? So maybe 40 years later on this like anniversary or something, or because it's All Hallows Eve, like just go wreak havoc on like the whole town and shit. You could take back what they never had.
Have more, would you say, like more lepers now instead of just, there was like 8 or so in the first one, just like so many everywhere. It's like a zombie apocalypse almost.
Like, I'm not saying it has to be like over the top crazy, but like I just like to see like it go further, like not just those main 6 people. Like why not see just them go for more people? I guess maybe not like take the Aliens approach where it's bigger and badder and everything, but like just like. Make it like straight up horror film instead of just a revenge movie, I guess. Like, go for the whole town. Dawn of the Dead, I'd say.
Nice. Yeah, I'm down with that. I think it could be a really cool idea to, definitely make it bigger, better, because it's kind of like self-contained in the first one. And I think that would be the way to at least tell the second one. And it's a sequel. Everything should be bigger and better in a sequel.
Your setup was perfect, though. It's pretty much all you need right there, and that sounded legit. I'm all game for this. Is a good sequel right here, I think. Yeah.
Nice. So for next week, I'm going to leave this one to the fans. You guys left us a comment about Ex Machina. What would we do with the Ex Machina sequel? So I'm going to send that over to you. That's a movie that I really enjoyed and would love to see. I think it opens up for a sequel, like at least with the ending, how she escapes.
Right.
Like I think you could easily make one there, but like the world is yours. You could do anything. It's not it's a little bit less limited than a lot of the things we look at.
Right. Yeah.
So next week we're going to be talking Ex Machina.
Tough one, but I'm excited.